Another thing today and beyond the American life. Imagine if you could type your coworker's name into a government website and instantly see a snapshot of their finances. Now imagine the coworker can also see that you looked. In Norway, that's not a dystopian rumor. It's basically Tuesday. Norway has an official system called the tax lists, where you can search tax list information for people and businesses. And here's the twist that would absolutely short-circuit the American brain. If you click to view a specific person's tax list information, that person can see you did it. Today I'm going to break down what the Norwegian tax lists are, what they actually show, what they don't show, why the government openly allows it, and the built-in guardrails that keep it from turning into complete chaos. And stay to the end, because the final detail is the one Americans least expect. You can't opt out. Not even if you really, really want to. All right, let's talk about Norway's tax lists. First, let's set the American baseline. In the US, money is private by default. You might share your salary with your best friend. Maybe. But a lot of Americans won't even tell their siblings. And the idea of the government publishing anything that lets random people estimate your income and wealth feels borderline unthinkable. In Norway, they've made a different trade. They publish limited tax list information, and the idea is that transparency helps society keep an eye on the tax assessment process in general, basically, public oversight. Now, before anyone starts picturing your entire tax return floating around online, no, this is not download your neighbor's full tax return with deductions and receipts. The tax lists are a specific, limited set of fields, and the limits matter because if you don't understand the limits, you'll misunderstand the entire story. So what exactly can you see? Norway's tax lists contain a short list of information like the person's name, year of birth, postal code and area, tax municipality, net income, net wealth, and tax. That's the core snapshot. It's enough to answer questions like, does this person make way more than they claim? Is this business owner actually loaded? Why does everyone in this neighborhood have a cabin except me? But it's not enough to expose every detail of your life. No bank account numbers, no itemized purchases, no list of how you spent it, no hidden spreadsheet of your mistakes, just the overview fields. Now here's where it gets weird. In Norway, you must log in to search the tax lists. You also have to be at least 16 years old. And logging in isn't just an annoying barrier, it's the entire design. Because Norway keeps a log of searches in the tax lists. And since you're logged in, the system can do something incredibly Norwegian. It can tell people who looked them up. So let's make this painfully real with a scenario. You're in Oslo, new job. You're getting the I wonder what everyone here makes curiosity. In America, you might check Glassdoor, ask a friend, and maybe do some awkward salary detective work. In Norway, you could look up a person's tax list info legally. But the moment you click to view that individual's information, you're leaving a footprint. Because the person you looked up can go into their own account, click Search History, and see who has searched for and read their information. So if you were thinking, I'll just quietly check my boss, Norway is basically like, sure, quietly, with a receipt. And it gets even more specific. The person you looked up can see details about who searched them, like the searcher's name, year of birth, postal code, and postal area. Also, the list of who searched for and read your information is updated hourly, so the awkwardness can be fresh. Now, a quick clarification that matters. The system separates searching from viewing. Searching is when you type a name and get a list of possible matches. Viewing is when you click an individual to see their tax list information. Only that click counts as a view, and Norway limits views. You can view tax list information for up to 500 people per month, and they don't make it subtle. When you have 50 or fewer views left, you get a notification telling you how many you have left. And if you hit the limit, you can still search, but you can't see the detailed tax list information anymore until your views reset on the first of the month. So Norway is basically saying, yes, transparency, no, unlimited stalking. Now, here's another twist Americans miss. The Who Looked You Up feature applies to people, but if you search businesses, it's different. Searching the tax lists will not be visible to businesses. So individuals get the Who Checked Me visibility, but businesses don't get to see who's browsing them, which is interesting. Now let's talk about the update rhythm, because this is not live like your bank app. The tax list is usually updated 4 times a year. The business list is published in the autumn and not updated after that. So think of it as a periodically updated public snapshot, not real-time tracking. Also, Norway explicitly notes that the figures are not necessarily final. They can change as a result of appeals, self-assessment, or assessment by the authorities following an audit. So if you're imagining this as a perfect gotcha machine, Norway is basically reminding you, it's official information, but it can still be updated through legal processes. Now, here's the part where most Americans start asking, okay, but why would a country do this? Norway's parliament has decided the tax lists are to be made public. And the reason is pretty direct. Society must be able to control the tax assessment process in general, and for individuals and groups of taxpayers. That's the philosophy. Transparency as oversight. Instead of trust us, we got it right. The system allows public visibility into a limited set of results. Now, is that comfortable? For Americans, usually not. For Norwegians, it's part of a longer tradition of transparency, even if people argue about it, and even if it's gotten more controversial in the internet era. But here's where it gets psychologically fascinating, because Norway didn't build a system that only encourages curiosity. It also builds in a social cost. If you look someone up, they can see you did it, which changes behavior, because now your curiosity has a consequence. So instead of the vibe being, I can silently snoop on anyone, the vibe becomes, I can look, but do I want them to know I looked? That one feature turns this from a pure data leak into something more like social regulation. It's transparency with accountability. Now let's hit the part that makes Americans even more shocked. Can you opt out? In Norway's tax list system, it's not possible to reserve yourself from the tax list. That applies both to the lists published on the tax administration's site and the lists distributed to members of the press. So if you're thinking, I would simply choose privacy, Norway's system basically says, we understand, no. However, there are exclusions. The personal taxpayer list does not contain information for certain categories, such as people with a secret address, and other special cases Norway describes, including people 17 or under at the end of the income year, deceased people, and a few other categories. So it's not reckless. It has carve-outs for safety and sensitive situations. But the default is still, you're in it. And that's the part Americans find hard to process, because in the US, we often treat privacy like an individual choice, while Norway is treating this specific form of transparency like a public policy choice. Now let's talk about what this looks like in everyday life, because the internet loves to turn it into a meme. Norway publishes everyone's salary, but in real life, it's more subtle and more social. For example, imagine you're negotiating a salary. In the US, you might walk in blind, and the company has most of the information. In a system with more transparency, it's harder for employers to rely on pure information advantage, because workers can sometimes triangulate what's normal. Or imagine a small town where everyone suspects someone is underreporting. Transparency changes the pressure. Even if you never look anybody up, the possibility that people can look you up changes incentives. And here's where it gets weird again, because transparency can also create social tension. If people can see net wealth and tax, it can spark judgment, envy, gossip, or the classic human pastime of counting somebody else's money. How that's why the "you can see who looked you up" feature is so important. It discourages casual snooping, and it creates a kind of self-policing. If you're going to look, you're going to own it. Now, quick reality check. If you're American and you're thinking, this would never work here, you're probably right, at least not culturally, not without massive controversy, because Americans generally have a strong mind-your-business instinct around income. But Norway is showing a different model. Limited public financial transparency, with logs, view limits, and exclusions, and with a built-in feature that makes snooping socially expensive. So here's the clean takeaway. Norway's tax lists let you search limited tax list information for people and businesses. For individuals, if you view someone's information, they can see that you did it in their search history. You can view up to 500 people per month. The list is updated periodically, and it shows only a limited set of fields like net income, net wealth, and tax. And you generally can't opt out. Now, the question I want you to answer in the comments is simple. Would you want this in the United States? Would it reduce inequality and make things fairer? Or would it turn society into a giant, anxious group chat? Tell me which side you're on, and if you want more things Americans don't know that are totally normal elsewhere, subscribe, because the next one makes this look mild.